Welcome back.
Yeah, man, how you doing? You good? I know you like that. I know you like that. How long you been back, man? And when this beat drop, I know they gon' lean. World debut, I know they gon' fiend. Everything Mississippi to the Palm Springs. Girls from brunettes down to blonde queens. You know you like that. 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 You know you like that.
Test, test. Guess what? It's that time.
Where?
Hello, Oakland! Welcome to the Nest at Fremont High School. This is week 3 of the Western Ultimate League season, and you're here at the Bay Area Falcons home game opener with Seattle Tempest facing off against your Bay Area Falcons. Introducing first, please give a warm welcome to our visiting team, Seattle Tempest.
Welcome in to beautiful Oakland, California, here at Fremont High School for the home opener of the Bay Area Falcons facing off against Seattle Tempest to kick off their home opener in the 2025 Western Ultimate League season. I'm Jenna Weiner, joined by Lawrence McKendall. Lawrence, so great to be back in the booth with you as always.
Absolutely. We finished the year last year on a high note. We were in the booth together, punctuated a great win. We're hopefully going to start the season in the same high note.
Both teams coming in with wins in their previous matchups. Seattle with a big win over Oregon SOAR. Oregon getting a team back in the league for the first time in a couple of years after a year away. And the Falcons going on the road against Arizona and getting the win down there. Now Bay Area get a chance to add another win to the board at home. Seattle facing a road test for the first time all season. Should be a good one. Both teams looking to take that decisive advantage in the league to go to move to 2-0.
Well, let me add on, unfinished business. Falcons have something to really set a statement, and this is a game that's perfect to set a statement. Both teams are coming off sort of proof of concept games to see what's working, what's not, and now they're going to collide in this particular forum. I'm excited to see it. Both have a way to go north-south effectively. Let's see if each other can find a way to stop them.
And in this matchup last season, the Falcons got the better of Tempest. A pretty decisive win against a team that was coming off a couple of title appearances. Could the Falcons potentially take another step this season towards actually making a title run after making it the championship weekend last year and then falling just short in the semifinal round against Utah? They have to play at elevation this year, and that was an issue last year. So that is going to be helpful. Championship weekend going to be here in Oakland come the beginning of June. So excited for that. And Falcons will hope to be here hosting.
Knock on wood, that would be fantastic that the home team is able to welcome everybody to their abode as well as win the title. So this is where we're going to see what happened. This is the game that's going to really set the stage. Where are the Falcons? How are they doing? How excited they are? This team, I've seen them at practice. They coalescing at a high level. I love the energy. And this is the perfect scenario to see it happen, see it unfold.
And we're in week 3, so both teams just coming off of initial wins, and they are, again, as part of a grouping towards the top, although they're in competition with San Diego and Colorado as well. So have the standings graphic popping up here momentarily, give you a rundown of where we're at with the various teams and where they're at in the standings. So we have Seattle Tempest, San Diego Superbloom, Colorado Alpenglow, and the Bay Area Falcons, as mentioned, all at 1-0. Currently pending results from later today. And then you have Utah Wild, Oregon SOAR, and Arizona Sidewinders down below. Arizona already 0-2 on the season, unfortunately. Notably, Lawrence, the Western Ultimate League has had conferences the past couple of seasons, but this time around it's just 7 teams all jockeying for position. Top 4 will attend championship weekend.
The interesting point of that is point differential in this particular makeup. So when I was talking to the coaches about this unique setup and what's important with point differential, it really affects how deep you can play a roster. If you're trying to make sure you can sustain that point diff that allows you to get to championship weekend, you may not sub as wide. So right now, we're going to see if you have confidence in the depth of your lineup, point differential is not going to be an issue. but I think in the back of my mind, it's going to play a big key as this season unfolds.
And we'll see how it goes. The team's getting introduced now. Lineups coming up. And just a reminder for all the folks at home, for the Western Ultimate League, hopefully people are at least somewhat familiar with the rules now. Season 3, season 4 at this point. It's quarter play, so 4 12-minute quarters. Field is a touch longer than classic, like USA Ultimate field with an 80 by 40 yard field. Clock stops when points are scored, except in the last 2 minutes of the quarter when it stops for every call. When the quarter ends, play continues until the current possession ends. Possession rules, very important here. And each team has 2 timeouts per half, and substitutions are allowed during timeouts as well. We've seen that be used as a really critical tool for these teams, especially the Falcons coaches. Head coach Manisha Narayanni really likes to call timeouts when it's going to be particularly effective, sub a group off to try and convert a key opportunity.
Absolutely. Coach Slap is very strategic in using her timeouts. It's very interesting. When you get in the red zone, that's definitely, as you mentioned, very effectively how she uses it.
As for foul calls, we'll have observers here helping out the players come to resolution. Any non-incidental contact is indeed a foul. The observers help with up, down, in, out, bounds calls, and stall is 7 seconds with a pre-check of 4 seconds of movement before play begins. That way players don't have to find the exact blade of turf that they happened to be standing at when the foul was called. Very useful and something that I still think that should be instituted with USA Ultimate.
Blades of grass, granularity?
No, the pre-check,
Okay, yes. I like that. I do like that. That's kind of cool. One thing to mention about the 7-second stall count, that essentially is the 8th defender on the field. It can pose a lot. I mean, people need to make quick decisions. If it's not available downfield, you go into your dump reset. So right now, this is not new for a lot of the players, but that can be strategically applied. You take away the first initial looks and force them to dump reset very quickly. So that's an interesting animal as it applies to this game versus basic USAU disc.
You got to look at the rosters there. Seattle bringing a pretty solid traveling contingent down from the state of Washington. Falcons, obviously, as the home team, get to call on basically whoever they want to. And Seattle already getting their first line of folks ready to go here. Got a pretty decent crowd here in Oakland at Fremont High School, the home of the Falcons, since the entire time that they've been a part of the league.
And the crowd is continuing to build. This is going to be built. This is going to be a nice day and evening for Ultimate.
Weather check for folks at home. Pretty good weather. It's maybe highs in the low 70s, high 60s. Touch of wind. You'll be able to get a sense of it by some of the flags across the field or at the flags at the top of the uprights. I would say, Lawrence, probably a thrower's wind for the most part.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking at the flags on the football golds, they're going from across the field to the booth. And so you're going to see the disc potentially track that way. But I believe what you're saying, it is definitely a thrower's win. Which means this is, I expect a shootout. Once the nerves maybe settle down, both teams are comfortable, it's go time.
Falcons offense was fantastic the other week against Arizona. Han Chen and Robin Venig 1-2 in throwing yards and across the entire league. As we get the first pull going up, Seattle starting on offense. Cheryl Sue, disc to the center of the field. Setting, now disc over to Sammy Della Penta. Floater. And that's Julia Hasbrook. Up to Sue. And quick and easy to Drea Baroma for the Tempest score. Just nice and up the line. Baroma, one of the players to watch for Tempest, and already getting on the board with a goal.
I was joking with Coach Scheibe before the game of Tempest. Your offense appears to be that you rip out the brake and tape the accelerator down. This is a team that doesn't really go east-west. It goes north-south very quickly, as demonstrated by the first point. Let's see if it can sustain that, but this is very typical of Tempest O.
Seattle maybe a little lucky there on the high pass that they were able to come down with it, but you take your early breaks where you can get them, and I would expect, as you mentioned, that this is probably going to be a bit of a shootout. Both offenses very proficient, both hitting over 20 goals in their last matches. 24-10 was the margin for Tempest over Oregon Soar, while the Falcons finished off the Sidewinders on the road 23-17 as Bay Area offense gets into motion for the first time today. Robin Fenig, key addition out of Sacramento on the sideline. Far sideline, Amanda Maru, center Fenig. Fenig over the top to Chen. Already said their names earlier, and they connect for the Falcons' first goal of the game, 1-1.
There you go. Case in point. They went. There was no zigzag for the Falcons. They went north-south quite quickly. You know, talking to both coaches, Coach Dariani, Coach Scheibe, was trying to get some information about how are you trying to mitigate both of these offense. And you're trying to find ways to close, make the windows tighter, make the handlers a little bit more uncomfortable, and you're going to see what that happens. But right now, both teams are very comfortable. Both handlers are very comfortable.
And we're less than a minute in, and we've already gotten 2 goals.
Boom.
What does that put us on rate for? 96 goals?
Sort of the running joke. I came to a track meet in an ultimate frisbee game, broke out. So let's see. This is just this 1-1, but let's see how far this goes, how quickly this ascends.
Floaty pull sitting about midfield. Wind moving left to right across your screen. Tempest center of the field. And that's our first turnover of the game. Falcons will get a break chance on the 3rd point. Molly Munson picking up. Able to get it to Vicky Chen. Chen finding Pinwin Wong. And an away throw from McKinley McQuaid. McQuaid about 5 yards out and just moving a little too quick. Bounced off the hands of Chen. Seattle offense with another chance to hold.
That was a hot bump.
So swinging it wide. Is able to get down for the grab. Going back, forth with Hasbrook. And now back to Sue from Baroma. Oh, and McQuaid picked up the read on it, was able to get the block just in front of Chung. A little bit of contact, but no call. And McQuaid registering the first block of the game. Munson to Beth Davies, center of the field. Chen. And just too high. Now we're starting to see the team settle into the wind, affecting a few of the throws here, but Falcons have been able to have these opportunities. Now just need to get the conversion.
Exactly. And Seattle comes from a windy condition, so it should not be a surprise. They should be able to comfortably handle the wind, but some nerves. You know, you come out hot out of the gates. You're looking for your second wind.
And that was a fantastic grab by Della Penta. Able to get down. The big away throw. And Sue just not able to hang on. And again, floated throw, but reeled in. Audrey Way, now to Chen. And again, off the hands, this time of McQuaid. Maybe first few points nerves, as this just sort of bouncing off of normally sure-handed players. Hasbrook, Sue. Now with Alexa Kirkland. Hasbrook angles it. And foul is called. Chen on the defense against Kirkland.
They're talking amongst themselves. The observers coming in. Do you want to throw to me to rule, or are you going to keep it on the field and decide yourselves?
Western Ultimate League tends to be pretty good about encouraging players to come to a resolution or go to the observers. Observers stepping in, discussing. Contested foul, going to be sent back. This should go back to Hasbrook, former UC Santa Barbara star.
The observer who does two fists together, that means contested between the two parties, and the result is the disc goes back to the origin of the throw.
Just a discussion about where the stall count is. Macy Volbrecht on the mark. And here we have our 4-second pre-stall. Hasbrook able to center it, get off the sideline now with Sue. And just too low. Really spinny in the wind, but not enough to sit up for the receiver.
That was our first red zone offense for Tempest.
Monson just too far for Way.
So at some point, some of the argument might be, do you just get very methodical and let's just move it down and slow the pace down, or do you? This is what we are. This is our DNA. We're going to continue to go forward.
And Sue throwing the turnover, but also seemingly a stall called by Munson. Players discussing. Notably, Sue, you're going to hear us say her name a lot. Standout player for Seattle BFG in the mixed division. Incredible all-around handler, and is going to be trying to make things happen for Tempest. If Cheryl Sue has a good game, Seattle Tempest will have a good game. If Cheryl Sue doesn't have her best game, then Tempest are going to have to get contributions from elsewhere on the roster, which they're plenty capable of doing, but a lot is going to flow through Sue.
Last week against SOAR, Cheryl Sue was all over the stat sheet. Very capable of handing out dimes as well as catching dimes, making dramatic catches and plays throughout the field. So to your point, definitely agree. Though, let me point out, there's ballers up and down Seattle's roster.
And stall contested. Looks like it will remain then a turnover, center of the field. Sue may be trying to get it so that it would be a contested stall and at that point, but the turnover, and you may be able to hear the shrill whistle, and that is for a timeout call. Timeout coming from the sideline in a turnover-heavy point. Makes a lot of sense to me that the Falcons coaching staff would want to call timeout here.
Yeah, get a break. Let's talk about this. Let's get a play to get us in the flow, and then once we're in the flow, take a look at our options that unfold. But yeah, you definitely, it's a good timeout. You want to calm the team down and just go, okay, this is where we are. So let's just take a breath.
And it's been obviously joke though, like two goals in the first minute, and now it's not moved for the last several minutes. Yeah. But this is actually a Falcons defensive line point. They have a chance to break here, and now with the disc in your hand, now with a chance to call the timeout, maybe you can take the advantage of the ability to substitute players in, get that potent offensive line out, or at least certainly some of the key players on it, and see what they can do from there. And sure enough, it's looking like Fenig is in, standing ready with the disc. Fenig, like Sue, going to be very central to the Falcons' offense, like Sue is for Tempest.
Fenig stirs the drink. Han Chen stirs the drink for the Falcons. These are fresh legs, too. So we're going to see if it's go time or if it's methodical time. Do they go north-south or east-west?
And just off screen, you can just sort of see it at the bottom left of your screen. Falcons were set up in a little bit of a side stack, 3 players up against the sideline. Bennig to Chen. Able to get it to Georgia Cardoza, who floats one up into a crowd, and contact. Carnahan involved, but no call. This back to Seattle.
Nice effort by Carney.
Elmy putting disc into play. A Tempest disc far sideline. And the high stall count doing some work, but Tempest able to get out of it. ID putting it long. Alexi Zalk able to get back for the Falcons. It's point dragging on, but as you noted with the subs, some pressure legs, so we'll see how long the back and forth goes here.
Charlie ID.
Yeah, it looks like ID coming off with an injury. Hopefully not too bad.
Hopefully it's a cramp.
It is warm here, folks.
Yeah.
Bay Area in April can get toasty. Low 70s right now, and the breeze is helpful, but on turf always heats up more than the grass does. It's Carnahan now, wide to Gina Schumacher. Schumacher back with the team after having a kid last year. Very exciting, a new mother. Back with the team, was one of the standout statistical contributors for the Falcons a couple years ago, so look for her to continue to make an impact. Able to just get the disc over to Zalk. Bennig, Angela I, Carnahan, and miscommunication. So the disc is just away from Chen. This now with Gone Elmy. Seattle working through their sets. Penny Wynn. High point grab by Brogan Jones. Elmy. Back to Elmy.
Good vision. Good hands.
How about the over-the-top throw? Instead, that's Antolin. Oh, wait. No. That's a tough battle.
Tempest were in flow. They had that look. Just sort of a little bit of breath. Get zen. Could have made that throw really smoothly. But you get hyped up like, oh my God, they're open. I'm going to make the throw.
It's so easy, especially like first, and it's still the third point of the game.
Yeah.
And players getting settled in. It really takes a lot to really center yourself, and that is a big ask. Fennig, near sideline, lays it out for Schumacher.
Beautiful find.
To Chen, and just able to get in front of it is 32 of Tempest. Lauren Page.
So what's the over and under on Tempest calling a timeout and getting another group of fresh legs?
Definitely possible.
This is amazing. I would have lost money on this bet. Wow.
And as called, timeout. As called, coach. There you go. There you go, coach. Had it right away.
This is yes. You had fresh legs all of a sudden back and forth. I don't know how many times. So yes.
And after 2 points scored in the first minute, we have no points scored in the next 7 minutes. More than that. So it is. Game has slowed down, certainly, in terms of scoring.
These are one of these points where if you really love the game of Ultimate, there's micro beauty in the point. You know, how can you stay, when you're exhausted, focused to play? How can you make, because if you notice, Tempest is making a lot of high-level grabs. Being exhausted, and they're getting in the flow. So, I mean, there's a lot of micro beauty on the Falcons as well. Case in point, you got Robin Fennig throwing that beautiful dot.
Yeah, and I've lost track at this point. The number of opportunities that both teams have had in the short field.
Yeah.
The Falcons have had multiple chances in the red zone area within 15, 20 yards of the goal, where they've had the disc with the opportunity to score and break, and it just hasn't quite been there. So certainly not for a lack of ability or lack of trying. The passes just aren't quite connecting. Players are not quite there at the moment. And Sue gets it started.
And I was going to sort of predict that is if there's a high stall count, they're going to boost. Now, this is the next prediction. If the Falcons get in a red zone, they may call a timeout because they definitely want to value this red zone since it's been so hard to get in there with, let's say.
Davies now to the center of the field, setting to Meaty Chang, a little floaty. Chang, Lily Stepanitis, and away throw, as open as you'll get, and that's a score for the Falcons.
Nice work.
Audrey Way jumping it in for the Bay Area goal. Falcons get the break. It's hard to remember that it was a break, but indeed. And Stepanitis just laying the pass out.
Was that considered a dirty break? I mean, I know there's a dirty hole, but on that one, yeah, that was a
took a few tries,
yeah.
But if you're the Falcons, you take the goal. You don't question it from there.
No, they got a break. I mean, that's going to be critical for both teams. Can you capitalize on your break opportunities?
Audrey Way giving the camera and the crowd some love. Stadium's filled up on the broadcast side here. You even have a few folks on the side. We caught a view of Coach Byron Liu talking the team up as they try and add a second break onto the first one. Tempest trying to get their offense going again. Nice to see ID back, but a low throw. And it's a quick break opportunity to the Bay Area.
Very uncharacteristic of ID.
Munson, Wong, floating one out towards Vicky Chen, but not able to connect.
I like that idea. I like that flow. They had the look they wanted.
Kicking the pylon out of the way.
But this is exactly where Falcons want to be. They're crowding the red zone, really making it difficult for Tempest to get out, but Tempest are in flow. They figured it out.
ID, then through Takushi. Sue, ID, Sue. Sue going deep into traffic and able to bring it in is Julia Hasbrook holding off Volbrecht for the Tempest score, tying it up 2-2.
And that was one of the players to watch, and you can see definitely a big, deep target. That was awesome. Not an easy grab.
For Ultimate fans at home, probably most familiar with Hasbrook from her time at UC Santa Barbara, but now up in the Pacific Northwest. And Sue putting one out for Hasbrook to reel in. Really notable ad for Seattle, I think. Seeing Hasbrook on this roster, seeing her immediate contributions, not surprising by any means, but helpful addition from the beaches of Santa Barbara up to the beaches of Seattle. Just a little bit colder weather. Sue also with both assists so far for Seattle.
Don't call me. I may not be correct, but I think there may be salmon on the beaches of Seattle. So just a hunch.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Falcons already just about to midfield. Working this side to side.
Their little junkie zone.
Lefty Schumacher setting to Holly Ward. Chen, center of the field to Carnahan. Zalk. Maru is wide open and is able to get in front of Cushy for the Falcons score. That's a 3-2 lead for the home team, and that's the kind of offense that we saw over and over again from the Falcons last week.
That is a connection, exactly.
Starting to get their flow together.
Yep, exactly. Yes, I was thinking the same thing. They said that a lot in the broadcast. Panda was all over the stat sheet, so that was nice.
And using the width of the field, Chen, Carnahan, Zalk, and Maru for the score. So far, no Falcons player with more than 1 goal or assist, so balanced contribution so far, though it's still early. Just about a minute left in this first quarter of play. A reminder, I said at the top, but there are possession rules, and so the team with possession of the disc when the clock hits 0 is allowed to finish that possession until either the disc turns over or they score, at which point then we move into the quarter break.
So the consistent with that is if the defense gets a stop with 1 second left, they have a chance with this possession rule to potentially go down the field and score, and they don't have to.
And maybe not 1 second left, but under 30 seconds left, and the Falcons, if they can possess this disc for the next 20 seconds or so, will be able to get a chance to try and finish out the possession. A couple more passes to hold it. And Eliza Chang to Stepanidis. And that will do it. The Falcons will now be able to finish out the possession. They have time. Coach Thariani on the sideline holding the hands up like patience, take your time with it. And Miri Chang just barely able to hang on.
A collective audience gasp. Nice save.
Morgan Greenwood near sideline. Greenwood out of Reno, Nevada, putting it out for Eliza Chang, but just too far with the win. And that will take us to the quarter break. Quick start for both teams, a goal each way, and a long third point as we stand 3-2 advantage to the home team. The Falcons will take a 3-2 lead into the quarter break, and we will be back with you shortly for the start of the second quarter. Welcome back to Oakland, California, Fremont High School, where we have the Bay Area Falcons up on Seattle Tempest. Teams getting set for the start of the second quarter. A note on the way that the quarters set up. Welcome back also in the booth, Jenna Weiner, joined by Lawrence McKendall, that the teams will swap who starts on offense. So Seattle started the first quarter on offense, and now the Falcons will start the second quarter on offense. Had they been able to get that score at the end with that extra possession, it effectively feels like an extra break. Instead, they'll have to settle for having a 1.32 lead over the visiting Seattle Tempest as they get set to receive the pull to start the second quarter. And Fenig picking up the start. Back to Fenig. Finding Ward. Tempest in a bit of a zony look. Angel Eye to Fenig. It's like a pretty classic three-person cup kind of look from Seattle, with 3 people in the middle and then 1 person deep.
Nice grab by Saltzman.
Chen wide to Ward. Back to Han Chen. Ward. Fenig. Falcon staying patient. Eye able to get there. Near sideline. And Maru. And it's a low throw and just too low for Zalk to dig out. Falcons were so patient and then just too low from Maru.
A great way to mitigate a fast charging offense is definitely a zone and a lot of throws, and it paid off. That last throw went into the turf. Too bad. A very uncharacteristic of Maru.
And Page. Help me. Center of the field. Tempest now past half field. Siona Antolin. To nobody except for Han Chen in the vicinity defending for the Bay Area. And wouldn't be surprised if we see Seattle set up in the zone again as Ward goes and picks up the disc this time. And the Falcons have to try and go 80 once again. Salk, Ward, Fenig. Eye, near sideline. Back to Fenig. Fenig's throwing ability really opens things up for the Falcons. Maru, Saltzman, Fenig. Seattle dropping into person defense.
You hear fire called. That's a good thing if you're on offense. You've defeated the zone.
Salk, Ward
Nice
with
grab.
the layout. Salk up the line, inside goal. Falcons.
Talia Ward demonstrating poise in the red zone. Fenig with the nice grab in traffic.
And Zog just mostly avoiding the contact and able to, as you said, able to get the, what sometimes known as like a 7 or a sunshine cut in front of the end zone.
Boom.
Cutting up line, shifting, and then Ward just putting it right in the center for Zalk.
7 cut's the money cut that you can get open so many times with a nice juke.
And it's so easy to fall into the trap of wanting to jam it up the line on that initial cut. But Zalk doing a great job of just quick cutting feet and then pivoting in the other direction, and Ward finding her in the space.
Fenig too. The inertia was going to one sideline, big fake, back to the middle, and there was green grass.
Falcons now 4-2 up. Tempest offense gets on the field for the first time in the second quarter.
Falcons are content to person up and just create the small windows on the reset.
This with Sue. And foot block from Cardoza. Stuff Sue.
Squid doing. That was awesome. Nice foot block.
Just a couple yards out for Falcon break opportunity. Davies. Edie Chang. Back to Davies. Edie Chang floating. 2 people in the area. And it's got by McQuaid. Break Falcons.
Zone. Yeah, beautiful red zone.
Incredible foot block by Cardoza.
You know, it's always funny when you are the person that gets the foot block. You're trying to comprehend seeing a frisbee bounce off your defender's foot. And in that moment of like existential angst, the defense turning offenses can usually get a quick score. You're like, oh, you're questioning life's decisions. That was beautiful. Beautiful foot block.
And, I mean, good on the Falcons, able to maintain their composure. Number of times that I've seen teams / my own team have the disc like 5 yards out after a big block only to immediately turn it back over, but able to work side to side before getting the flip to McQuaid for the score.
Yeah, foot blocks in different areas of the field. Definitely you want to be chillier in the red zone if that foot block. And that was nice. Foot block in the red zone? Oh, that's just ideally a wrap present.
Greenwood on the pole for the Bay Area. Sue going to pick up. Tempest running out a lot of the same players. Makes sense. You want to give your offense another go at it. But the Falcons defense has turned things up a bit. And Tempest offense is going to have to get going.
They are making the under windows smaller.
And away throw. Jones connects with Kat Chung. And if you can make it work that well on that along the near sideline away throw, then you will definitely take that. First assist thrown by somebody not named Cheryl Sue for Seattle. And it's good to get those contributions if you're Tempest.
I know the coach, you're happy. You definitely want to be able to spread the love.
It's a tough window to hit, but this just hung up enough, and Chung able to get in front of her defender, Wong, for the score. Seattle hold, trim the deficit to 2. Falcons still up 5-3. Wind still a factor, again blowing left to right across your screen. So Tempest getting a chance to go a bit downwind that last point. Falcons will get a chance to do the same here on this next offensive possession.
Falcons working with a half field. This is potentially a gift.
Low pull into the wind on Chen. Maru, Fenig, 4 throws. Yup. Jacqueline Wynn with the grab, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and score for the Falcons to take a 6-3 lead over Seattle.
That was a comfortable connection. That's a connection that happened in Arizona last weekend. I know Kobe's eyes were big seeing this play. This is really going to go. This is perfect. Yeah, Kobe had time to comb her hair on that cut. It was just so perfectly timed.
Gotta love all the various Frisbee nicknames that different people pick up. I know that you and I are very local, so Jacqueline Wynn or Kobe, as she's
Wynn,
known
exactly.
in the Bay Area, or Manda Maru or Panda.
Right.
Bay Area locals, we get to know people by their nicknames, and it's sometimes hard to unlearn when we're up in the booth. We got to play professional sometimes, and then it's like, but our friends are out there doing really cool things, and we just want to shout them out by their nicknames that we're used to seeing them do cool things anyway.
Thank you for that, Nish. Yes, I will bring it up a notch, and yes. So yes, Jacqueline Wynn is great to be at the end of that point. It's so good. It's very comfortable when you can cut 100% knowing the disc is going to be shooting your way. It's pretty awesome. Case in point with Tempest, you're cutting knowing it's going to go up.
Into major traffic Foul called. It's Hasbrook getting tangled up between a couple of folks. You know, nicknames are a big thing with a lot of the UC schools in particular. I'm sure there's one for Hasbrook. There's a nickname for Hasbrook that is just not coming to mind because in Stanford too, all the California teams, at least in the women's division. I don't know if that applies to other areas as well outside of the college scene.
I love nicknames. I think it's one of the cooler parts of the sport. What's interesting is that anybody who's gone to Stanford, they're given a nickname and you ask the origin and they'll say, I don't know.
That's true. That's true.
It's nice to go, oh, it happened this way. I did this, I did that. And so there's sort of a through line. But there's just a randomness with Stanford nicknames.
Speaking of, Stanford player involved, McQuaid, trying to talk things through, known as Skittles.
Yeah.
And the disc will stay with Hasbrook, Greenwood, and McQuaid in the vicinity. McQuaid trying to point to who she's going to pick up.
By the way, awesome segue. That was pretty cool.
Hasbrook, back to Sue. Tempest, far sideline with Kirkland. Sue. Now with Della Penta, back to Sue. Floated towards Della Penta. But it's Chung with another goal. Able to come down with it. Second goal and as many points for Kat Chung.
Falcons had it locked down, then the disc got magical, a puff of wind, and all of a sudden, best laid plans. The disc goes over everybody's head and nestles in the back to an open player, to Kat Chung.
Kat Chung, one of the players to watch for Tempest today. Recent club experience with Seattle Riot, but played college ball down at USC in the LA area. So one thing we get, we're talking about with Hasbrook, with the UC Santa Barbara connection, plenty of flow of players and people up and down the West Coast. So a lot of these players have tons of familiarity with each other, whether it's from the college scene. Hasbrook and McQuaid, I think, pretty sure we're in college at the same time, probably went up against each other. UC Santa Barbara, Stanford matchups at the top of the Southwest D1 women's region, or in the club division, whether mixed or the women's division. So plenty of familiarity, and obviously with players' time in the Western Ultimate League. Disc far sideline. Ward and Chen working in the backfield for the Falcons. Chen able to pull up the defense. Ward along the sideline is going to work. Nearly. Zog doing her best to try and keep the feet in bounds, get down to the disc, but not quite able to do so. And ID will jog over to pick it up for Seattle.
Just a couple degrees higher, that would have been another point.
Seattle running some push plays where they send some folks deep, trying to get some movement underneath. And nearly made it work that time around, but Brogan Jones not able to maintain possession. Chen to Ward. Back to Chen. Jacqueline Wynn, and off the hands Carnahan. But Seattle Cisco, 80 again. Falcons gain their opportunities.
That was a nice play. Disc came a little hot for Carnahan.
Elmi, up the near sideline. And timeout called by Seattle. Teams get 2 per half. Good time to use it. Just under 5 minutes left in the second period. And pretty critical for Tempest. If they can get this score, you bring the deficit back down to 1. You have this opportunity. Falcons have given you some chances, so might as well take the timeout, try and sub on, and try and finish off the break opportunity.
Yeah, in a match that uncharacteristically is a low scoring, points can take a long time. And if you can, right now, the time you have the disc is very valued. If you have a high scoring game, then you can be sort of free because you're confident you can notch points quicker. But in this particular case, it's sort of ground warfare, and you want to value that possession. So it's a good timeout for Coach Scheibe.
As you mentioned, kind of low scoring, 6-4 for two teams that scored 23 and 24 points for the Bay Area and Seattle respectively last week. 6-4 with a bit before halftime is not quite what you would expect. So just, I think, bouncing off people's hands and just not quite aligned. We had that also super long third point of the game. Wouldn't be surprised if things cleaned up a little bit in the second half, got a little bit more higher scoring, but hey, it's a good battle nonetheless.
Very much so. There's beauty in this battle going on right now.
And an away throw, trying to go immediately to Hasbrook. And Hasbrook somehow comes down with it to Sue. To wide open Baroma. And out of nowhere, suddenly, Seattle has trimmed the deficit to 1.
When skill and luck collide, you get plays like that.
Incredible focus from Hasbrook, able to maintain her attention on the disc.
Is that one of the plays of the game so far? That was pretty wild.
And it looked like Vicky Chen nearly had it, but just couldn't maintain control. You can see Chen on the left side of the screen, just tough breaks sometimes. And that is Cheryl Sue's fourth assist of the game, for anyone keeping track at home.
It's now 1 point. They were on the precipice of going down. Tempest were on the precipice of going down by 3. They've managed to claw back and make this interesting. See what happens.
And continuing to see the impact of Hasbrook. Not going to get any statistical credit there, but that play happened because she managed to hang on to the disc. Speaking of, Wynn not able to hang on herself. Disc back to Seattle. Jones, far sideline. Stall called. It's like the observer is ruling no stall. This will be in the hands of Penny Wynn. Across to Jolene Chang. Cushy. Far side, Mahan. Over the top, Cushy for the score. And Seattle has tied it up 6-6.
Tempest, you can see that sort of like they're starting to feel it. They're getting in the flow. You don't want that when you're on the Falcons. You don't want that to see that comfortableness. Tempest got it back now, so let's see what happens.
A clear indication between the 2 points just how simply Ultimate Sunlight is simply a game of throws and catches. You have Hasbrook managing to just hang on to it before Wynn drops it. Mahan getting out over Maru. Cushy able to run onto it without issue. So it is simply about who is catching the disc. And at the moment, it is Tempest. Falcons having a few drops, need to tighten up that focus heading into this halftime break.
That was a level of profundity I did not anticipate from you. Like throwing and catching, it boils down to that? Absolutely. I'm joking. Yes, absolutely.
It is funny, though. It applies from the lowest levels of the game to the highest levels of the game. It is something that I repeat to my local women's league teams where it's like recreational level beginners. It's like, hey, it's just a game of throws and catches. It's really that simple. And then at the highest level, it's the throws and catches that make the difference when all of the players are so talented that typically the execution is such that you would expect them to be able to execute at a high level, and when that doesn't happen, it makes a really big difference.
Completely.
Eye with the disc, stall.
Foul call.
Sienna Antolin on the mark, and it is indeed a stall. Falcons turn the disc over.
In the Western Ultimate League, we have a 7-second stall, so it's a little bit faster than what you might have.
Elmi going and picking the disc up for Seattle. Antolin, Cushy. Able to get in front of a pair of defenders. Goes wide. Tempest, receiver, open, goal. Seattle lead for the first time since the opening point, 7-6.
They are imposing their will. There's a level of comfort that they are with ease going down the field. Falcons, you're capable of doing this. It's your turn. Absolutely. But right now, Tempest very, very comfortable.
And using the small sideline spaces, Warren Page putting it out for Anna Petty for the Seattle score. Seattle also notably starting to get a few more contributions from across their roster. Yes, Cheryl Sue has 4 assists, but you're starting to get a little bit more direct involvement, at least certainly statistically, from other players on the roster, and that's good news if you're Seattle. And if you're the Falcons, you have a little over 2 minutes left to try and settle back in. You can treat it like it was 1-0. It was 1-0 at the start, built a lead. They could do the same thing. They have a couple minutes, though, before the halftime break.
Nikki Yang looking to fire up the crowd with the cheer. Oh, great grab. Those grabs. Gina making a great grab. Schumacher. Got to look.
Edie Chang, now the Zalk. Schumacher, near sideline. Back to Chang. Resets to Ward.
I'm taking this dynamic mic right here next to me.
Good find.
Lovely throw. And contact on the throw from Davies. Contact on the throw back to Davies.
That play, it turned out to be a foul. It was very nice that the hand was placed low, right in the throwing pattern. Almost got the turn.
Chang with Davies and Ward. Falcons looking a little stagnant, and Maru making a great grab down to the turf.
Falcons are trying to go north-south, and Tempest are pushing them east-west.
Davies, Schumacher. Notably, this is not the Falcons' A1 offensive line. You wonder if they're just trying to mix up who's getting the reps. Schumacher can't quite get to the disc on the second effort. About 40 seconds to play, and Seattle will try and maintain possession to hold the edge into halftime. Ramirza centering to Idy. Over to Mahan. Mahan away. To Cushy, and it's a no-go. Falcons will have some time to maintain this final possession.
Within the last 2 minutes, the clock does stop, where it's normally running outside of the 2 minutes.
Falcons need a few throws to make sure that they get the final possession, and there's the timeout call. And makes sense. Not much time left trying to maintain the possession into the halftime break. Coach Dariani calls timeout from the sideline. Falcons use their second and final timeout of the half.
I mean, it's a good idea, because if you throw a turn with 19 seconds left in your red zone, you're serving it up for a potential score by Tempest. So yeah, that was a really good timeout. And let's see if they can get out of there. At least, look, if they can boost it, and if there's a turn, it's farther enough out of the way that it makes the score prohibitive.
Yeah, or at least you have to, if you turn it over before time runs out, you make Tempest have to go a little bit further.
Right.
And at least with the subs too, right? We were just saying that this is not the A1 offensive line. You get a chance to sub those folks, and would not surprise me at all to see the likes of Robin Fennig and Han Chen, among others, out there on this potentially final Falcons possession of the first half, as they try and even up the score going into halftime.
So to your point, who's walking to the disc?
It's Robin Fennig.
There you go. You're absolutely right. You got Han Chen, Robin Fennig.
And Seattle still talking things over, trying to get their lineup right, their matchups right for who's out there. And sure enough, it is Fennig and Han Chen in the backfield.
Chang,
You have Cardoza
Dosa,
and McQuaid. And 3 players stacked on this near sideline. Again, trying to get people in isolation space early. McQuaid trying to get the undercut, floating enough on the pass from Fennig. Inside throw to Cardoza, flowing to Chen. And just need one more possession. If Fennig holds it, there we go. Falcons will have the final possession. The horn has sounded. Disc with Han Chen near sideline, inside flick, floating up for Cardoza, and blocked by Seattle to end the first half. And that will do it. No calls, and therefore it's going to be a 7-6 Seattle lead going into halftime. Chen trying to put it out into space, but just hung up too much. And Siona Antolin able to get the block for Seattle.
Falcons got the look they wanted. They moved out of the red zone and got the look. It's too bad they weren't able to convert.
Falcons will need to set up and reset. Heading into halftime, they trail at home against Seattle Tempest. Seattle up 7-6. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have some highlights and a halftime interview for you.
Just confess it 'cause it's obvious. I'm your number one. I'm your number one. I'm your number one. I'm just living that life. Buying that car, classic, but it's still pop. I get money, you get mad because the bank's up. Yeah, I know your little secret, put your hands up. Car, classic in your eardrums.
Defense faces.
We got a halftime here, 7-6 Seattle Tempest over the Bay Area Falcons. We're at halftime here. Beautiful day, great contest. In a second, we're going to go over the highlight package from the first half. I must say, I was betting on a high-flying game. It's a high-flying defensive game. Beautiful, beautiful disc being played defensively, punctuated with Tempest down by almost 3 midway through this first half, found a way to come back and lead. Getting the tail end of some of these highlights. That was the lead to Cauchy that put them up or tied the game. We got Anapati with the score to go up by 1. So do we have any highlights for the Falcons? Right now, we're going to be thrown in a second to my partner, Jenna Weiner. Looks like she's going to be talking to Jesse Crowley on the sideline.
Test. Hello. Put it close to my mouth. I always forget how close I have to get. I can go further back, but then I'm just squinting into the sun. All right, I'm here with Seattle Tempest, Jesse Crowley. First half went pretty well. A bit of a slog through the mid of that first quarter. What helped y'all get back into the game after being down and then take the lead heading into halftime?
Yeah, I think we just we're playing a little timid in the beginning of that. You know, it's a new space for a lot of us, and there's some swirly wind. But we started really trusting ourselves and cutting 100%, and getting into our flow. And I feel like once we hit that momentum, we were able to build off of it and really feel the energy that our home stadium is known for. And so it was really fun to bring it here.
Cheryl Sue has 4 assists in the first half. Can you talk about what Cheryl's contributions mean for Tempest, both in this game and overall to the Tempest team and culture and success?
Yeah, I mean, I think Cheryl is such a driver for our team and for our O-line. And so when she is moving the disc down the field, I think, again, like that energy that I talked about, that is what Cheryl brings to this team a lot of the time. And you can see it in her cutting motion. She does everything with intention and with like 100% focus. And so then it leads to performances like that. And it looks really good. We love to watch it.
Any thoughts looking ahead to the second half?
I'm excited. I feel like we've hit our groove a little bit. If we can like sit in this and then keep pressing the gas pedal, I think it's gonna feel really good. I'm excited.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, Jesse. Thanks. All right, we're gonna go to a break and we'll be back for the start of the second half.
Just confess it 'cause it's obvious. I'm your number one. I'm your number one. I'm your number one. I'm just living that life. Fine, that's called classic, but it's still pop. I get money, you get mad because the bank's up. Yeah, I know your little secret, put your hands up. Called classic in your eardrums.
Okay, ticket number, yellow ticket, go ahead. Yellow ticket, 864-037. Ticket number 864-037.
And welcome back to beautiful Oakland, California at Fremont High School, where the Bay Area Falcons are taking on Seattle Tempest, coming in at the start of the second half with Seattle up 7-6. It's been a pretty close affair between the two teams. Falcons took a lead in the late parts of the first quarter, early parts of the second, but Seattle stormed back, and now we're receiving to start the third quarter. I'm Jenna Weiner, joined once again in the booth by Lawrence McKendall. Lawrence, Falcons starting on defense and at a deficit. What do you think Coach Thariani's halftime talk would have been to the team?
Look, we're there. We just continue to put things together, put pressure on defense. It comes down to defense, I think, more so than else. If you can slow Tempest down, you're going to do well and convert. There's nothing to freak out about. We've got this. We expected this challenge, and in any form, just keep at it.
And Cheryl Sue at the center of all the action once again for Seattle, but that throw is a turnover. Macy Volbrecht getting the block. Travel called on the throw from McQuaid to Vicky Chen. This will go back to McQuaid as the Falcons try and get a break to start the second half. McQuaid, Stepanitis, contact seemingly from Hasbrook. Players discussing, trying to recreate the situation, classic at Ultimate Games.
Exactly. A call turns into a TED Talk, then that's where the observers come in.
And the observer ruling that it is a foul. Hasbrook may be getting too much into the back of Stepanitis. Midi Chang wide to Vicky Chen. Chen Chang and off the hands. Tempest 30 yards out. A discussion between Chen and Alexa Kirkland. And Priestall.
Freestall in this game is very cool. The offense gets a chance to get a head start before the disc goes into play.
And Cardoza, I think that's basically another foot block seemingly. And Cardoza coming under.
What are the odds of that one?
Foul, no contest. And I don't know what the odds normally are, but seemingly for Georgia Cardoza, they are quite high.
I was gonna say, maybe. I was thinking the same thing. Maybe there's just a big, long resume of foot blocks.
Molly Waringa on the mark. That's just some sort of violation call. Cardoza still with the disc near sideline. Tries to find the inside window to Midi Chang. Not able to connect. De La Penta for Seattle. Now this back in the center of the field with Sue. Baroma call again. Pick call. Hand signals are useful, Lawrence, it turns out, to try and interpret what's happening down the field sometimes.
Completely. A pick call, or he's trying to land a plane somewhere in the tarmac. We'll go with pick.
Disc with Sue, guard by Munson.
Falcons trying to make those windows tighter, trying to force those turns.
Hasbrook, Sue, back to Hasbrook. Throws wide, inbounds. Waringa. Marked by Cardoza, back to Sue. It's like a metronome. You can practically count on when the disc is going to come back to Cheryl Sue. Speaking of.
Tempest
Metronomic, Waringa.
They're looking very comfortable, Tempest.
Pick call. Munson doing what you can to try and slow down Sue, but Seattle start going every other at this point. And another one! Another one from Cardoza. That's 3!
Was
3
that on your
foot blocks.
scorecard? Stepanidis with the grab, with the dig. Nice dig. Can they capitalize? Can the Falcons capitalize?
Boy, if there were prop bets for
Serious.
Western Ultimate League games, you can make good money on Georgia Cardoza getting foot blocks and getting layout grabs. Munson, Chen, thought about the crossfield throw, instead resets to Munson. Chang, Munson,
Big around.
Cardoza. Falcons 10 yards out and off the hands of Stepanidis. The Falcons unable to hold on to some of those passes, just bouncing right off their hands all game. And timeout called. So thought one might be coming, and Seattle taking time from the sideline. Players looking gassed out there. I can't imagine that the turf is cool at all at this point.
At all. No, this is it's amplified by the turf, as you mentioned earlier, that currently it shows here on my app at 69 degrees. I definitely know it's hotter on the field. And when you're running around at this high temperature, at this fever pitch, you're warm. So fresh legs, that was a good call by Tempest. I was anticipating if there was a turn, the Falcons were going to call. So let's see what happens.
We're already about halfway through this third quarter. Just kind of like in the first quarter.
It's almost deja
Long
vu.
points,
Yeah.
yeah, I know. Nearly a 6-minute point so far. If you're Tempest, you're happy with that. Like, it's close enough that you don't feel comfortable, but you're still in the lead.
Well, there was 2 names we repeated a few times this point. We got Cardoza and her foot, and Sue.
Yeah, Cheryl Sue. Those are the engines right now for their teams, and Cheryl Sue back out there again for Tempest. Cardoza getting a rest on the sidelines for the Falcons. Falcons, if not entirely, certainly mostly subbing out the group that was previously out on the field, trying to get fresh legs in. But Tempest, far sideline. Cushy. Angled throw to Sue, but instead it's Eliza Chang. Chang, Davies, Angela I, Davies.
Tempest making it very tough for those inside windows.
Greenwood, I.
Thought about the hammer for all of a second. I think Yi Chang thought.
Greenwood.
Boom.
And that was Pinwin Wong to Beth Davies, and the Falcons finally tie it up 7-all.
Wow. That was impressive. I love the energy of both teams. Falcons put it together. Congratulations. That was awesome. Nice work.
That turnover generated by the Bay Area's pressure on Seattle's handlers. Tempest trying to find Sue yet again, but angled throw not quite there, and instead it's flow across the field. Greenwood to Wong, and touchy angled throw for Davies to track down. It's 7-all, and notably the Falcons will get the disc to start the fourth quarter. So if they can have the advantage, we still got time.
That's a great point.
5.5 minutes left, but
that's a good point.
It's gonna be close.
So talking to Slap, she likes varied looks. Is this a moment where you see a very defensive look? Is this going to be junk? Is it going to be a straight zone? Or are they just going to go straight person? Mano a mano. Let's see.
The wind is pretty similar, a bit left to right across your
They
screens
got
at
some
home.
junk. There's your varied look.
Certainly an extra defender in the lane. Cushy now to this near sideline. Finding Sue.
trying to close those downfield windows.
Speaking of those two names, it's Cardosa now on the mark against Sue. Cushy. Back to Sue. Back to Cushy. Falcons really trying to clog up the lane. The Brown throw, away throw, just about in bounds. And in for the goal. And a Cushy on the reception from Lauren Page for the Seattle score. 8-7 is the Tempest lead.
I like the defensive decision. They gave a different look. Tempest figured it out.
The throw to the far sideline, the key thing to unlock it. Cushy coming up with a couple of key grabs on the underneath, talking with Kirkland as the two walk off the field. If you're Seattle, you just want to do your job on offense, hold, maintain the advantage, and make the Falcons earn it. Just throw wide to Lauren Page. And then the inside look to Cushy for the score. Throw into, pull into the wind. Rolls a bit. Now Chen immediately trying to find Zog. Zog off the hands.
So let me add some clarification. That angle at this time, you're looking into the sun. You have a bright disc coming in at that angle, can make you blink. You're locking in, you're trying to find an edge to get your hand on it. Fanny's hands are very assured.
Pick call, center of the field, disc in the hands of ID marked by Fennig.
That was a beautiful throw. That was a dot. That was nice.
Chen just trying to put it out, but the wind or something just holding up those discs enough for the Seattle defenders to make a play on it, and then Zog not able to maintain the possession. Sun is slowly setting here in the Bay Area, so definitely a factor in terms of the eyesight. Another block on the mark, this time from Ward, and Zog, Chen, and off the hands of Chen, tried to go for the one-hander and just couldn't do it. Throws and catches, Lawrence. Throws and catches for Falcons is an issue this game.
That corner is going to be hot for a bit. That's going to be probably a very caustic corner. But that's perfect. You're in flow. You hit a very, you made the throw to a great talent. Sometimes that happens.
And this back to the Falcons.
Talia Ward forcing a turn.
Chen. Zalk. Floated. And Maru! Maru with the roof over Antolin.
Maru, that was beautiful. Great hands. Notice she's got sunglasses. Other than that, that's what Maru does. That was beautiful.
Maru, not the tallest player by stature by any means, but is able to get up and over the defender for the score, telling it to the camera.
A lion. A lion. Not her nickname, but a lion on the field.
We'll get.
And that point was brought to you by Talia Ward. She forced that turn that put Falcons into flow in the red zone. Nicely done.
Just Maru able to get up in front of Antolin on the throw from Zog, but you're right, that corner is hot. That's where the wind's sort of leaning, and discs are popping up a bit, but we got a tight ball game. 2.5 minutes left in the third quarter. It's a fun one.
Yeah, it is.
Been a bit back and forth, some longer points, but both teams starting to crank up the pressure, crank up the highlights.
Now, Falcons have a pep in their step. There's going to be a little bit of welcome to the WUL greetings. What do I mean by that? We'll see. Some bumps here and there. Trying to close those windows, make people uncomfortable.
Chung on the away throw from Kirkland.
Beautiful
Quick as you
dime.
like. And spike off the head for Kat Chung as Tempest make it quick. Now lead Falcons 9-8.
They're shooting. So the counter attack, if you're forcing small windows, you're leaving the deep. If you're not playing last back, it's like, look, we're going to grind it out. And if they go upstairs, it's going to be mano a mano. They went deep. They found the window and they hit it.
Chung now with her third goal of the game. Just getting the better read on it over Davies for the Seattle score. Tempest holding in the advantage, a slim advantage, sure, but an advantage nonetheless as we enter the closing stages of the third quarter. Falcons are probably okay with trading blows at the moment, but they're going to need to find that break somewhere. So again, they'll start on offense to start the fourth quarter so they can tie it up heading into the final period of play. Then might work out for them.
So a rough prediction, just for you at home. If a team can figure out how to go up by 2, I think that might be the buffer if we're going to have this.
Fenig, perfect, perfect. To Han Chen, and Falcons say, we see you, Tempest. Get a deep throw score of their own. Fenig on the assist to Han Chen.
Boom. Two teams that definitely demonstrated that they can score quickly. That was beautiful.
Fenig with her third assist of the game. Ron Fenig, longtime veteran in the Ultimate scene, been very involved, served on the USA Ultimate board at various points. Longtime fixture in the Madison, Wisconsin Ultimate scene. One of the best throwers that I have seen. And sometimes it's just Robin doing Robin things. There's nothing you can do about it.
Straight up. Just if you have a conversation with her, just a lovely person. Like high octane player at the same time. Just let her have a conversation with her about all sorts of things. It's been really nice to have a moment, chat with her.
Yeah. Out of the Midwest, as mentioned, Madison moved out to Sacramento, out to the West Coast. Fenig works in emergency management, so works up at the state capitol. So hopefully you never need her expertise on emergency management, but if you do, Ron Fenig is there to help. Tempest getting things back underway. Kirkland and Baroma in the backfield for Seattle. De La Penta, far sideline. Sue in the small space. And is able to just get the reset off, but then off the hands of Kirkland. And Falcons trying to go quick initially, slowing it down, Midi Chang. Disc with Angela I.
Nice. Gets the separation.
And a couple of receivers in the area. But unable to come down with it.
Eliza Chang trying to make a great play on it.
But great defense from Seattle to deny it. They have 80 to go. Game tied 9-all. Just with Chung, middle of the field. De La Penta. Seattle going quickly. 2v2 small ball is Sue laying out. And the buzzer goes for the end of the third quarter. So Seattle will be able to maintain possession until either they score or a turnover.
Cheryl Sue is in her element, very comfortable. You don't want that if you're on Falcons.
Hard to stop though. And Sue, so good at getting open in the small spaces, able to get those resets and find those openings.
Straight up. No, absolutely.
Holding the disc about 10 yards out as Tempest look to take a 1-goal lead into the final quarter of play.
I love the backward cap, ready to ball.
Burma inside, and I gets the block to deny Seattle, and sure enough, it is a tie ball game heading into the fourth quarter. 9-9, the Bay Area Falcons and Seattle Tempest all locked up. Falcons will receive to open the fourth quarter. Going to be an exciting finish. Don't go anywhere. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back for the fourth quarter. Bay Area Falcons and Seattle Tempest tied up as we welcome you back to Oakland, California. Beautiful weather, amazing ultimate, 9-9. Jenna Warner joined by Lawrence McKendall as the first pull of the final quarter of play goes to the Falcons.
Just wanted to give props to the Falcons for having that red zone stand against Tempest. Tempest were feeling it, and it looked like they were under the. They were definitely. Oh, Jacqueline to win, actually win. It looked like they were going to score easily. Tempest. Falcons shut that down. It was pretty cool.
Away throw, Maru Zok, not quite able to run it down.
Falcons in flow. They got the look they wanted. And here's the deal. They are pinned. They've pinned Tempest in the red zone. This is a good thing. They've shortened the field. Let's see if they can get a stop and capitalize.
Tempest having to go a bit upwind and off the body of Lauren Page. Fenig up the corner, resetting to Ward, and run through. Oh, big contact, but clean block seemingly. Schumacher. That was Anna Petty getting the block and then running down the away throw.
Elmi is fearless.
ID. Near sideline Page. And throw is behind Elmi. Both teams showing plenty of energy out there, that's for sure. Petty, Schumacher going head to head. Fenig to Zalk. To Ward. And Chen able to dig it out. Resetting center field, back to Ward.
Nice around.
To Maru, Schumacher. Petty applying a bunch of pressure, but not able to come with the block this time around on Chen. Tully Ward in the Falcons' backfield. And timeout taken before the throw. And coaches, I think, seeing what we were starting to see from the booth, which is the Falcons' offense starting to stagnate. And timeout taken. Give themselves another break to get this opening score of the period.
Yep. Potentially get some fresh legs in, have a plan. Look, the last play, they had the look. They were in flow. Tempest are upping the pressure, making it going down the field very difficult, forcing the Falcons to go side to side. That's a good thing.
Both teams getting their chances. I mean, Tempest, after that block from Petty, it seemed like they were going to be absolutely off the races, but just a slight miscommunication, throw behind the receiver. Elmi not able to get her feet around to snag the disc, and gives the Bay Area another chance to hold to open the fourth quarter.
So, any subs did they bring in? I see this moved.
Looks like potentially some downfield subs. I'm seeing Benig, Han Chen, and Talia Ward in the backfield, but Carnahan, Mara Saltzman, Vicky Chen, and Lily Stepanitis downfield, so maybe potentially some swaps on the cutting side of things for the Falcons. For Seattle, some personnel changes as well. First throw goes backwards, though, for the Bay Area. Second throw goes backwards, too. We're working upfield to Vicky Chen. Back to Ward. Saltzman offering an option wide, and Fenig able to get up in traffic and ripping a backhand. Two players in the vicinity. Han Chen. And just executes on the throw intended for Vicky Chen.
Robin Fenig put a dime. Big flick to a backhand put. It was beautiful. Falcons could not capitalize, unfortunately. But they have the Tempest pinned again. See if they can create another turn.
That's something that you hate to see, though, from a sideline perspective. You want to really get that red zone conversion percentage up, and the Falcons have not done themselves any favors today in that category.
When they're, another timeout called, when they're settled, yes. When they're in flow, that's where things seem to fall apart a little bit into the red zone.
And that's maybe, looking ahead to games later in the season. This is only game 2 of a 6-game regular season. If you're the Bay Area coaches, I think you're probably going to be putting in a lot of practice time in those end zone sets, in those isolation situations, really trying to make sure that you don't have those types of turnovers in future weeks. Falcons get a week off in week 4 before getting Oregon at home. And I can imagine in the 2 weeks between now and then that there's going to be a lot of repetition and practice in those situations. It's something that every team has to work on. My club team, American Barbecue, worked on it quite a bit last year of, like, you have somebody on the edge of the goal line or 10 yards out. How do you make sure that you don't turn it over and you convert those chances?
Well, your crystal ball, I would bet you're correct 100%. They're going to look at multiple scenarios, trapped on either side, in the middle of the field, transition on a fast break, or from
handlers and
disc.
cutters,
completely,
both.
every scenario, because you want to be able to live comfortably and breathe comfortably in that area and punch it in.
Coach Thorney still out on the field trying to direct some traffic as Seattle gets set to put the disc back into play.
8:29 left, and it's knotted at 9.
Everything's in the balance right now.
This is perfect for the Falcons. They can tee off. They're right in their red zone.
And starting out with a sort of junky look, trying to stop the play out of the timeout. The disc to De La Penta, near sideline.
Talking to Kat Chung before the game. She's got a green light to boost, but her job is to stir the drink and make the offense smoothly flow downfield.
Falcons remaining in that zony set, but Sue able to find Chung in the center. Burma, Kirkland. Crossfield, 2 defenders, doesn't matter. Seattle score. Hasbrook getting the goal, and a crucial score for Seattle as they take a 10-9 lead.
That was crucial, absolutely. This is really going to be interesting. The energy, the dynamic. How do you, the funny thing is you come in going, we put up tons and tons of numbers, and all of a sudden you're in a grudge match. It's an interesting dynamic. It's very psychological too. Everything gets more critical. The pressure builds in every point. So this is going to be interesting to see the character of the team, of each team, step up.
And notably, 2 teams both took timeouts. Only one of them got the score. Seattle with the 10-9 advantage. 7:45 left in the 4th quarter. Interesting, these situations. I feel like if people are familiar with playing Ultimate in basically any other setting, that's not the semi-pro setting, we're used to these situations like playing to a score or playing to a very particular time cap. And while we do have a time restriction here, it's not quite the same universe point feeling. There's still plenty of opportunity for both teams to have plenty of success. We've seen them go on runs, both the Falcons and Tempest going on streaks in the first half as Zog just holds off the defender. Fenig away, aiming for Carnahan. Carnahan not able to get there on the low throw from Fenig. But both teams will have chances. So it's 10-9, but still plenty of time, even if it doesn't feel like it at the moment.
Well, what also is part of that's unusual is the 7-second stall count. That's a sort of a specter that you're trying to be chill, but you've got this quick stall count that you have to make a decision.
And away throw. Oh, a huge bid from Antolin.
That was beautiful.
But not able to reel it in.
So let's flip the script. Now Tempest have the Falcons in their red zone. Can they get a stop in their red zone and punch a score in?
And Fenig, Han Chen working with Talia Ward, as has been the story all game. Wouldn't be surprised if it's the story all season for the Bay Area offense. High throw, floaty throw, snagged out of the air for the block by Petty. Idy to Jones, far sideline.
Big dig by Idy.
Penny Win to Elmy to win. 10 yards out. 10-yard goal for Seattle.
That was sick.
An incredible grab from Tempest for the score. Orrin Page getting around, feet set, going out for it, and getting it for the Tempest score. They are up 11-9. First 2-goal lead we have seen in a while in this game. Coaching staff immediately given instructions.
Yeah, no, you've got to, there's a couple things that are happening here. Time is not an asset right now. You do not have that luxury. So with 2 times, you need to take, at some point you need to take your shot. Now, I'm going to say you need to take your shot earlier than later because you never know when a point may go longer. And then you've got running time between points up into the 2 minutes. So you've got points of this game that can burn valuable daylight if you're trying to claw back from a deficit. So let's see how Falcons can time manage and overcome this 2-point deficit.
And Falcons running out much of the same offense. Certainly Fenig back, surrounded by 3 people immediately.
They're playing zone with Tempest playing zone with the last back, as they know Falcons are going to have to boost. You can go east-west all you want, but north-south, we're going to make it difficult for you.
So far, Falcons have made progress, albeit incremental. Davies with the disc, and nearly gained the block is Petty. McQuaid and Stepanitis, big bid, not able to come up with it.
Nice try. That was a beautiful idea.
Falcons have been close to a lot of things. They've nearly had so many catches, but it's the small margins that make the difference. It's certainly been the case today.
And this is the conversation where you turn to your team, look, we're going to take our shots, and if we don't have it, we need to play lockdown D. We have to. Get that turn.
Discussion between Aroma and Stepanitis. Observer ruling.
And here's the downside of having conversations. It's burning daylight. You're burning the clock. The clock does not stop. So you ideally want to resolve these issues quicker. If you're up, then it's fine. Talk all you want.
Elmi putting it up for Petty. Can't come down with it. Wong on the defense. Davies finds Stepanitis. Currently unmarked. As Tempest trying to set up the defense. The Falcons offense does not look especially connected. McQuaid disc on the near sideline. Observer comes in to check. McQuaid goes for the centering pass.
You got to go, someone. You got to go.
And Wong lofts it. Vicky Chen gets it for the score.
There you go. It starts with 1. Nice. 3:19 left. Good.
They get 1 back.
Ballers make plays. That was nice.
Chen holds her poise on the pass from Wong.
This sport is so fun when ballers make plays. That was a necessary play. Nice job.
11-10, the Seattle lead. 3:19 left in the fourth quarter. It's close. Falcons still need to make a push.
The fans are cheering Vicky Chen. The fans are getting their money's worth here.
Seeing the Seattle possession, they try to put one up. Ends up being a turnover and back to the Falcons. And now Sue Kirkland in the backfield for Tempest. Can they seal it? Sue, guard by Cardoza. Falcons opting to put one of their best defenders on Seattle's top offensive player. Baroma, far sideline. Back to Sue.
Delapenta's coming in. She's going deep. Definitely hungry cutter.
They're all over the place. Getting the pass underneath from Chung. Away throw. Hasbrook. Sue on the receiving end. Is a go. Call? Call goal.
Thank you. There's a call on the field. Hands go up. There's signals being used. Observers come in.
Hasbrook. On this apparent assist. But it'll, I think, depend on where that injury call was.
There's a substitution going on the field. We have Tempest coming off. Audrey coming in number 24.
Discussion trying to figure out where the disc was, or what the continuation rules are. Munson, Della Penta in the conversation.
It's interesting, the clock has stopped, which is very fortunate for the Falcons.
I mean, certainly in these cases, you wouldn't want the clock to run out entirely.
No.
So I know that there are rules around last couple minutes. Disc will be going back to, will be with Della Penta. They'll put the disc into play for Tempest. I think this is a break for the Falcons. That was a clear
Big break.
Seattle goal.
Big break.
Without the injury call. Della Penta to Chung. Holds out the defender. Della Penta. Sue. Della Penta again. And they get the assist for the score.
A machine on that point, all over the field.
And Hasbrook with her third goal of the game. Della Penta, their first assist. 12-10, Seattle lead. 2:40 left or so.
Yeah, so poised. Nice red zone. Nice red zone. Falcons were putting their best clamp, and Tempest figured it out.
And Hasbrook just able to get away from the defense of Audrey Way.
So 2:41. Do they put it up quick and then lock down D if they don't get it? Or do they go methodical and hope other things happen? If they get a turn that force a universe.
And Falcons need a couple of scores, couple of quick possessions.
Fennig's on the field.
Zalk, far sideline, centers to Fennig. Fennig says go time, okay. To Chen. Angle not quite there on the read for Chen.
Still there. You got to get a stop.
Seattle's going to take their time. They will be happy to do so.
Well, they're making lunch plans, calling their friends. There's no rush. There you go.
High throw. Maru.
Got to shoot.
On the block. And Leo. Oh no, that's an injury.
What you want to see.
That's Fennig.
Yeah. She's holding her arm.
All right.
Everyone is quiet in the stands. I see thumbs up. Byron Liu.
That is good. Okay, and some trainers out there.
It's 1:59. The Falcons are down by 2. Tempest, they're knocking at the door. They have to. So don't know what's going to happen. I think it's a turn. It looks like. If it's a turn to Tempest, Falcons have to try to lock it down quick and score quickly. There can't be any style points in this one.
I mean, the biggest concern I think for the Falcons right now is Fennig.
Well, let me just say, just not to be callous, you're absolutely right. Everybody's, I saw thumbs up as positive. I hope it's not a break. No, not to minimize that.
If she's out long term, right? I think that's the biggest thing. Like, the Falcons are down 2 points here. It's going to be tough for them to make the full comeback, and so then it's a question of looking ahead. Where do you go forward from here? They will need a healthy Robin Fennig going forward, and that's going to be critical for them. In addition to whatever the result of this game is. But yeah, obviously great to have the thumbs up. Looks like Robin's sitting up now and to her feet. Love to see it.
Just say maybe did she lose her breath? I don't see her. Maybe she's holding her arm. Okay. I'm glad that she's walking off. Yeah, I mean, to your point, I mean, the implications later, you're looking farther down. Yes, Robin can stretch the field in a number of ways. Flick, backhand.
And Seattle, it is indeed a turnover, a block on the layout. Block back, Zog. Falcons not done yet. Not done yet.
You can't. You gotta get going. You're burning daylight.
Chen centering to Ward. Falcons will have to do without Fenig. Ward on the inside look. And run through block from Seattle on Carnahan. And a big away throw into double traffic.
Smart punt.
Maru on the defense, but you're right. At this point, Seattle just wants to burn clock. To Zolk. Carnahan.
Someone's got to go.
Zog. Petty with nearly a piece on that reset. Schumacher. Thought about it. Sending it now. But too much of a line drive.
That was the look that should have happened a number of seconds ago. And now you're in the red zone, and now the defense can lay on and possibly get the turn. Right now, look, this was an awesome game from both teams. This is awesome. We're into this interesting point of strategy that's tough to calculate when you think you're coming in and you're going to be flying high.
Stall called.
Wow.
ID Sue in the backfield for Seattle. Still going to be tough with under a minute to play for the Bay, but they're going to do their best to try and tighten this thing up as much as possible.
They can tie it up. The clock stops. The clock is going to stop. It's not going to burn. You have that chance to knot it all up.
Floaty disc. Seattle able to come down with it. Schumacher gets it in front of Petty. Foul call and timeout call. Immediate from the sideline.
Good timeout.
Foul call, but also timeout call.
See Robin going across the field in front of the stands with the trainer.
And Falcons will get the timeout call from the sideline. Disc in the hands of Schumacher on the block. Falcons have to move quick. They maybe onside pull or something. They got to figure out some way to get 2 goals in no time.
That's a good point. Do you do an onside and really not get the team a running start? I think that's a good idea. Let's see if they can punch it in to start off with it to lead to that conversation.
Both teams are going to talk, although Seattle seems like they have their lineup more clearly set. And, I mean, the conversation, right, from the Falcons is go. You have to, right? Immediately, you have to put it deep and just
you
like one throw and then go.
My general thing is you have to throw it that it's in the end zone. And you never know what happens in the end zone. Somebody comes down with it. If not, they're going to the Tempest get their disc on the edge of the end zone. You don't want to throw it shy of it because you're burning daylight trying to get in. You want to take a clean shot into the end zone. But who's out there to boost it? Now, if they were within the 50, there's options. Who's out there? Nikki Yang is not playing today.
Han Chen is good.
Han Chen got it.
The crowd here trying to root their team on to success.
Carney has a shot. Carnahan. She's not on the field. Let's see.
Vertical stack from the Falcons.
Got to shoot. Good containment.
Trying to get it back to Chen. And touch block, double block from Seattle. That should just about do it. This is Cheryl Sue on the sideline. Antolin. Cushy. And that's the game. Seattle 12-10 winners.
Big applause to both teams.
Falcons.
What a terrific game. Different complexion that we thought coming in. but a terrific game. Shout out to the Tempest. Figuring it out. On the road, coming back from a deficit, holding off the high-flying Falcons.
Congratulations to Seattle Tempest winners on the road, 12-10. Able to get the job done just about. Cheryl Sue with 4 assists. Julia Hasbrook and Kat Jung each with 3 goals as well. Seattle got what they needed to get from their key contributors. And they come away winners on the road. They move to 2-0. Falcons fall to 1-1. Any overall thoughts, Lawrence, on let's go with the Falcons' performance tonight?
What's interesting is I think the Falcons figured out where they need to be. They can shift gears and play a mano-a-mano sort of grudge match. The red zone, I think, will be interesting that they're going to shore up, like you mentioned earlier. A lot to build on. Robin Fennig is the question mark of how, the team has to pivot, next person up, always the case. We'll see how the Falcons can pivot, make that pivot for the rest of the season. Tempest, on the other hand, wow, they came in and played with house money. They finished the half going up by 1. I'm sure it was like, we're good, we're fantastic. We stepped up, we took all the punches, and we came up no worse for wear. So Tempest are going home very proud.
Yeah, and I mean, always great to get a win on the road, and maybe we're going to start seeing more of the old Seattle Tempest that won back-to-back titles a few years ago. They've had a little bit of a lull with some roster turnover. Maybe they will be back to their former glory this season.
Well, there's other teams that have something to say about that, as well as the Falcons. But this is a game that demonstrates character when you get in and every pressure counts. And both teams are making big catches, big plays. Tempest did a few more.
In terms of statistical standouts for the Falcons, as we see Discraft play of the game, an incredible snag from Seattle on the inside throw from Penny Wynn to Lauren Page for the snag. I want to shout out Georgia Cardoza. Those trio of foot blocks were something to behold, as well as Robin Fenning's 3 assists. Lexi Zolk with a goal and a couple of assists. And just general contributions up and down this roster. I think if you're the Falcons, you take the couple weeks off, you reset, you get Oregon at home. Oregon's not had the strongest start to their season, so hopefully you can get a bounce back and then look to go on the up from there. Top 4 make championship weekend. All the Falcons want to do is make sure that they're back here for championship weekend in the East Bay when it comes time for June. This has been the Bay Area Falcons playing Seattle Tempest. Tempest 12-10 winners. I've been joined by Lawrence McKendall. Thank you for joining us, and we will catch you next time. Thank you for joining us for this Week 3 action in the 2025 Western Ultimate League season. And we're back, joined by Seattle Tempest, Cheryl Sue. Cheryl, congrats on the win. What helped y'all get it done in the end? That was a real tight last couple quarters there.
We have nothing to lose coming here. I think a lot of our players really stepped up. A lot of our rookies really made big plays today, and I'm just really proud of them and of everyone. But yeah.
You yourself got 4 assists over the course of the game. You've been on the Tempest team for a while, very involved in the Seattle Ultimate community generally for quite a number of years. What's it been like to be able to be so integrated into the center of sort of everything that's happening? You were going every other on quite a number of those points.
Yeah, I think just the fact that a lot of people have a lot of trust in me, and there's a lot of buy-in as well, and I think honestly I play well when people do trust me, even when I do make mistakes. Everyone has my back, and I guess we showed it here. Yeah.
Next week, another game, 3rd game in a row for y'all. Any thoughts looking ahead to that one?
Just
Go out, try and go to 3-0.
yeah, definitely 3-0. We're get ready, Utah.
All right, you heard it here, folks. Congratulations to Cheryl Sue and Seattle Tempest. And catch them in action next week against Utah Wild. Thank you.